Hi folks, welcome to session number 17 of Electronic Music Reviews with Scotch&Grey. As always, in the background, our sleepy Steven, barely busy with the cables and knobs. Wake up, Steven.
Yeah, I'm up, mate.
Well, dear friends of synthetic sounds, today I would like you to consider this review as a short introduction to a long, really very long evening with electronic music, either on the headphones or on a cozy sofa directly in front of your 10,000 watts high-end amplifier system. Plan about 8 hours for it. The good thing is, even if you doze off by accident, it doesn't matter, because that's exactly what this music was designed for. The album, or to be correct, the albums, will catch you again right away. Even after 5 liters of Grandma's darkest coffee, they will send you back to dreamland. So, what's today about? In 2016, a man whom just a few people know by his real name, Richard Melville Hall, released a 4 hours concept album, even though the music on it was only meant for personal use, just to help him fall asleep or to listen to it while chopping carrots, doing the dishes or counting money, I guess. Because the latter can take a while with this man. After all, 20 million records have been sold worldwide on his account. An old lady would have to knit quite a lot of socks for that. But today's album are available for free. Don't you believe it? But that's how it is. Each of these works lasts an incredible 4 hours and consists of tracks with a length of 20 to 40 minutes each. Musically, they belong to the genre of ambient, and therefore it's not surprising that Mr. Hall called them long ambients, for simplicity's sake. The second album came out in March 2019 and starts with the title names where the previous album ended, with track 12. Anyway, the insiders of the scene already know, of course, what it's all about and who. Nobody else but Moby. Right, this American earthling who, with his currently young 54 years, has already moved a lot of things in this world. Let me begin with his musical career, which he started as a singer, guitar and bass player in punk bands. Later on, he significantly influenced the techno and rave scene. Then, his commitment to animal rights, which he has exemplified for more than 33 years now as a straight-edge vegan. Then as a photographer, a book author, as a socially committed person who has experienced a lot of ups and downs in his own life and therefore stands up for fellow creatures of all kinds wherever he can. As a musician, as a wannabe do-gooder and as a vegan myself, I have to admit that sometimes I see myself as a mini Moby. Okay, without the 20 million records sold and without the more than 100 analog drum machines on the shelf. Although he has now auctioned them all. Never mind, let's continue with the text. Anyway, I have no idea what made him decide to make these albums freely available to the public. After all, he doesn't earn a cent out of it. But the fact that he did it gives us the opportunity to talk about this gentleman again, and of course to listen into this 2 times 4 hour project. Album 1 with the full name Long Ambients 1: Calm Sleep is very similar to its successor and contains 11 tracks. Long Ambients 2, without the name affix, contains only 6. Both albums set in exactly the way you want them to when you want to go to sleep, and therefore, understandably, you don't want to have wild noise around your ears. So, Mostly a somewhat gloomy or dim soundscape builds up, only gently changing harmonies. Slowly and thoughtfully elements appear that you could call a melody. Of course, not in the classical sense, as in giving the track dominantly a direction or structure, but simply to accompany the background. Often it's not even melodies that keep the track in motion. It reminds more of passing fog that hardly changes noticeably. Sometimes they become denser, sometimes they leave more space for the view. It's similar with the arrangement of these tracks. A sound stands in the room, fills it. It hums, it roars, rumbles, changes its spectral components. Then it melts. Sometimes it gets louder, mixes with another deep roaring, which never becomes really loud or disturbing, then becomes quiet again, disappears. Or a kind of a choral takes over that space, standing or sweeping harmonies, and this sound also gently disappears. The next track begins just as gently as its predecessor ended. A new world of sounds built up in front of your inner eyes. Sometimes it seems a little more metallic, sometimes more like the sound of the sea. Sometimes it's a soft wind blowing. It feels as if Moby was trying to convert his own dreams into sound. There's something there, but what is it? It's so hard to describe, so hard to grasp. In the best case, you could call it a sonic daydream. You wandering around in your pyjama and slippers at a snail's pace through endless landscapes or rooms where you look around and always discover something new, but familiar at the same time. And while you look in amazement and don't know, hey, what am I actually seeing and hearing, everything is already changing again. Just a moment ago it was as if you were watching a tenacious, almost endlessly slow sunset. But after a while you realize that while you were staring into the deep red sun, it became deepest night. You have floated for miles and now you are standing on the highest plateau of a mountain range. All around you the starry night sky. Silence. Far, far away, somewhere on the horizon, flickering lights of a big city. No idea where the journey will take you. A lot can happen in 8 hours. You can discover a lot in terms of sound or just experience the best deep sleep of your life. Anyway, Moby has set a monument to the genre of ambient with these 2 albums, even if it was definitely not intended that way. He wasn't interested in the market, not in sales figures, not in letting off steam artistically. In the course of his long career, he has practiced this often enough and in the most contradictory genres. Instead, with long ambience, you feel every minute absolutely honestly that it must be about the pure experience of a new dimension of music. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. He just delivered what was fulfilling for him. And Richard shares all this with us, without any long background story, without any drama and promo about it, and without a cent in return. So let's at least thank him by letting every minute of these albums flow into our perception in an appropriate way. Let's listen. Let's even oversleep a few tracks. Then let's listen for a few minutes more. Then we turn around and doze off again into dreamland. I'm sure Moby would be totally okay with that. Well, then sit up again in bed or wherever you are, click on the links below the video. As usual, download that 8-hour sound package and then lie down again quickly with open ears and an open mind. I say thanks for listening, and if you liked this session, as always, write us something nice in the comments and check back next week on our channel. If you like, leave a thumbs up and press the subscribe button. You know, then we are pretty happy my little idiot avatar goes to sleep with Moby Ambient on the headphones, and I will finally order that huge vegan cashew cheese pizza we need 8 hours for to finish. See you next time. Bye bye.